What the tariff?
Electricity costs have just gone up by 20% for complexes in Ekurhuleni. And it's not just a tariff hike, it is a whole bunch of fixed charges that are now coming in. So we're going to be chatting about some of these changes, what it means for complexes now, what you can do as a complex going forward, and most importantly, what you need to do now. So, David, tell us what's happening.
Up to June 2025, Ekurhuleni had a very simple 363 that they charged called the complexes. It was a flat structure, it was transparent, and the complexes could quite easily recover that from residents. Come the 1st of July, all of that is out of the window. They've done away with it and added 3 new tariffs that they will be charging complexes. The first one is a time of use electricity tariff. Now, this is essentially surge pricing for a complex. I imagine you guys watch the rugby, and after the rugby, you try to take Uber to get back home. I need to realize that it costs 4 times what it usually costs for that exact same trip with the same car and the same driver. And the reason for that difference is just because they are charging you more because a lot of people are trying to book at the same time. There's a surge, so they price for it. Now, top of use tariffs were the same in that in peak hours, Ekurhuleni will not charge customers more for electricity than in standard hours, and then there's also off-peak hours that will be even cheaper. The second charge that's now been added is that demand charge, where they essentially look at the peak load measured by the complex, and they charge them a fee for that. Now, the higher your peak load that you've registered in a month, the higher that fee will be. The third charge is what they call a network access charge, and it's essentially a demand charge, but instead of being measured over the last month, you will now be charged for your peak load over the last 12 months as well. And if that wasn't complicated enough, NERSA has a different version of the approved tariff to what Ekurhuleni's got. It's the same structure, but the rates are slightly different. We're going to have to wait until those first actual bills come before we will actually know what will be charged.
Okay, so basically, we're going to get charged more for using electricity where we most need it. And we're also going to be paying a charge for the most amount of electricity that we use in one period over the last month. And if we mess up once and we use a lot of electricity, that cost is going to follow us for the next 12 months. I mean, I'm still dealing with load shedding PTSD. And now this, I mean, it's pretty worrying. So, David, just rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, what is this going to look like for my complex?
Let's say your typical 30-unit complex in Ekurhuleni. Last year during summer, you'd have used around about 48,000 rands worth of electricity. This year, for the same electricity, is going to set you back 57,000 rand. In winter, when your consumption goes up, because it uses you more electricity, you would have used 66,000 rand. The old tariffs, on the new tariffs, you're looking at 80,000 rand for the same electricity. That's a 20% increase for exactly the same electricity.
Cool. Love that for us. So basically what you're telling me is that my bill and everyone else's bill in my complex this month is just going to skyrocket.
Actually, Angela, I think most complexes are going to get completely blindsided by this change. Only when they get their bill in August for July's consumption and July's tariffs will they see this change coming through. This means there's 2 months of under recoveries from the residents that will have to be funded from the levies. My advice here is that complexes need to act now and increase their recovery rate to 4.50 to make sure they don't under recover on the electricity, putting more pressure on the residents' levies.
Okay, guys. So the trustees adjust the bill now so that we don't get smacked with a really big bill later. I mean, that sounds fair. But David, why is this happening and where's it going?
This is just the start. Ekurhuleni uses time of use tariffs to incentivize smart energy usage. They're basically charging you more when demand is high and charging you less when it's low, thereby shifting consumption towards off-peak periods. They laid the foundation this year to enable them to do time of use billing and peak demand charges. And we expect them in coming years to be increasing those peak charges even further. For example, go look at what Eskom today is charging time of use customers for peak time electricity usage. It's well over 8 rand.
Okay, so basically the rules of the game have changed. And if we don't adapt, we're going to get penalized. So what do we need to do?
Complexes need to do more than just manage the overall consumption now. You really have to have an energy strategy to reduce your peak demands and use electricity at cheaper times of the day. So when looking at your demand, stoves, ovens, geysers are your big three in any complex. You can go and convert all of them to gas and drastically reduce your demand in your complex. Might not be always practical. Alternatively, especially with geysers, you can install load management systems for your complex that will essentially massage the load of your complex, preventing too many geysers coming on simultaneously and therefore reducing your peak demand and the charge. That system can also be used to let your geysers run more efficiently during cheaper times of the day, which will further enhance the savings for the complex. If you already have a solar and battery backup system, there's a few more options for you. You can use your battery to buffer out your demand loads at your complex and reduce the peak requirements on the grid and therefore reduce your bill. Secondly, you can then also charge your battery up during the day or off-peak hours when electricity is cheap, and then in the evenings during peak times, run the complex off of the battery and not the grid, saving even further. It goes without saying, if your complex doesn't have solar yet, now's the goodest time as any to look at full complex solar and backup solutions. With solar, your complex gets 6 to 8 hours of very cheap electricity every single day.
If you're in a complex in Ekurhuleni, now is the time to act. At Metrowatt, we are helping a number of complexes in the area like yours to navigate these challenges. The best part about it is that these solutions don't actually require any upfront investment from you, and they allow you to save from day one. So if you'd like to have a chat with us, click the link below and let the sun pay your levies, not your homeowners.